Welcome to this new tutorial, where I'll show you how to create a stunning castle from scratch, using Blender. Even if you're new to 3D modeling or just looking for a fun new project, this tutorial is for you. And the best part? Blender is a completely free software, which you can download from the official Blender website. In this tutorial, you'll not only learn how to model the castle, but also color it, add lighting, and make your creation truly pop. So without further ado, power up your laptops and get ready to warp into the world of 3D modeling.
Let's go!
When you launch Blender, you will have a default mesh cube, a camera, and a lamp. You select with left mouse button. And to select multiple objects, you hold down Shift key and select. In the left bottom corner, you will see what keys I'm pressing, as well as the mouse buttons which have been clicked. It may not always show, so also pay attention to what I'm speaking. You delete objects by pressing X and selecting Delete. And to add back objects, you press Shift+A. And under Mesh, let's select Cube. To move an object, you will have to turn on Move tool from the toolbar. And by clicking and dragging the colored arrows, you will be able to move on that direction. Red stands for X-axis, green for Y, and blue for Z. Then there is Rotation tool to help in rotation of objects. Here also, the colors represent different axes. Red for X-axis, green for Y-axis, and blue for Z-axis. Same thing for the Scale tool. In Blender, you won't have to keep switching between these tools to use these functions. You can use the hotkeys for a faster workflow. I'll switch back to the Selection tool. To move an object, you press G. And to move that on certain axis, you press the letter of that axis. X to move it on X-axis, Y for Y-axis, and Z for Z-axis. And left-click to confirm the location. Then press R to rotate. X, Y, and Z to rotate on certain axis. And finally S to scale. And X, Y, Z to scale on a certain axis. If you head over to the drop-down near the Show Gizmo menu, you can turn on the Move function. I like to use this setting and not press G every time I have to move something. Right now, we are in object mode. But to edit our models, we need to switch to edit mode. Shortcut to toggle between these two modes is Tab. Inside edit mode, there is vertex selection, edge selection, and face selection mode. You can press 1, 2, and 3 to turn these on. With vertex mode, you can select vertices, edges in edge mode, and faces in face mode. Left-click drag over this region will orbit the view. Shortcut to orbit is drag the middle mouse button. Click and drag the magnifying icon to zoom in or out. You can scroll the mouse wheel as well for the zoom function. Dragging the hand icon will move the viewport. And the shortcut to use this tool is to hold down Shift key and press the middle mouse button. Now head over to Edit menu in top left and select Preferences. Here under Interface, I'll increase the resolution a little bit to 1.2. Then in the System tab, set the undo steps to a high value. 256 is the maximum. Now you'll be able to use the undo function 256 times. And now, for people who don't have a 3-button mouse. In the Input tab, turn on Emulate 3-button mouse. With this enabled, whenever I mention middle mouse button, you use Alt plus left mouse button instead. I have a 3-button mouse, so I'll leave this off. If you see a Save Preferences option in bottom left, click that. So Blender will remember these settings next time you open it. If you would like to use this preset for future projects, head over to File. And under Defaults, select Save Startup File. This isn't permanent, so don't worry. You can always load the factory settings if needed. Now let's start modeling the castle. First press Shift+A and add a cube. Press Tab to enter its edit mode. You can edit your model inside edit mode. Now in here, press S to activate the Scale tool. And then press Y to scale only on Y-axis. In the top left corner of the viewport, you can see the exact measurements I am scaling the object. Once done, click the left mouse button. Press S again, and then Z, so it scales only on Z-axis. Now I will switch to front view. To do that, simply click on the green button without the Y letter. Now I'll select the top part of this object. To do that, left-click drag over it. However, by doing this, only the vertices at the front get selected. but I want the ones at back as well. So switch back to front view. And press Shift plus Z to enter wireframe view. You can also turn this mode on by clicking the first sphere. Now if you drag over the vertices, the ones which weren't visible from the front, also get selected. Now I'll press E to extrude up these vertices, and then right-click to cancel the movement. Here the vertices has been extruded, but you can't see them because they are overlapping with each other. If you press S to scale up, you should see those. Press E again to extrude up a little bit. Now if you click the red button without X written on it, you'll get switched to left side view. Press S, and then Y to scale down on the Y axis. Switch back to front view by clicking on the green button without Y letter, and then exit edit mode by pressing Tab. Now press Shift plus D to duplicate this object, and press Z, so the copy will move on Z axis only. Place it above, and enter its edit mode with Tab. Pressing A will select all of its parts. And then press S to scale it down. Move it down, so it sits on top of the below mesh. Drag over the top vertices to select them. You are still in wireframe view, so the vertices on the other side get selected as well. Move those down a bit. Now select the top vertices only, and press E to extrude them up. Then S to scale down. If you press Shift plus Z again, you exit the wireframe. And Tab will exit edit mode of the object. Now the edges in our models are very sharp, so we need to chamfer those edges a bit. Head over to this wrench-looking icon. And under Add Modifier, select Bevel. Here set the segments to 2. Select the bottom mesh, and add a bevel modifier to that as well, with segment set to 2. Now I will add a new mesh to create the window. But if we add right now, it will be added over here. This will be because 3D cursor is over there. New object are added where the 3D cursor is located. So to change its position, you can turn it on from here, and left-click where you want to add. Or you hold down Shift key and click the right mouse button. Now that we have set the 3D cursor, press Shift plus A to bring the Add menu, and under Mesh, select Circle. Switch to its edit mode by pressing Tab. Then press R to rotate it. 9 and 0 to rotate it 90 degrees. And then X, since we want this to rotate 90 degrees on X-axis. Scale it down. And then select bottom half vertices of the circle. Press X and select vertices to delete them. Now drag over the bottom 2 vertices to select them. And E to extrude down. Press Z so it's straight. Then to connect these 2 vertices, press F on keyboard. With all vertices selected, press F again to fill up with a face. Now E to extrude it to the front. And then press I to inset the face. Press E again and extrude in the inner direction. Exit edit mode with Tab. And add a bevel modifier to it. Set the segment to 2. And then adjust the bevel amount to control thickness. To adjust the value in smaller increments, hold down Shift key and drag with left mouse button. You also have the option to type the numbers. Then to make the object smoother, right-click on the object, and select Auto Smooth. This may give you some more shading issues. But under Shading option, if you turn on Harden Normals, this gets fixed. Switch back to front view. Now I will create copies of the window, but instead of using Shift plus D to duplicate, I will add an array modifier. Since we want the copies on X-axis, adjust the X factor. And set the count to 4. Now if you click on the drop-down near the cross, you can duplicate the modifier as well. However, I don't need this one to act on X-axis, but on Z-axis. So adjust the Z factor. And set the count to 2. Now I will simply duplicate the windows and move them to the right. Notice I used a different shortcut to duplicate. I used Alt plus D instead of Shift plus D to keep the windows linked. This means if I later need to edit the windows, I only need to edit one of them. And all others will also be affected. While this is not the case when you duplicate using Shift plus D. You can press F2 to rename any object. This can help you in keeping your scene organized. Now I will select both set of windows. To select multiple objects, you need to hold down Shift and select with left mouse button. Now duplicate with Alt plus D and place the copy above. You can remove the bottom array modifier. And then lower the count to 3. Do the same to the second set. Now place the 3D cursor at the center. and add a mesh cylinder.
Enter its edit mode with Tab.
And scale it down with S on the keyboard. Press S again, and Z to scale down a bit on Z axis. And move that up. Now Shift plus Z to switch to wireframe.
And select the bottom vertices.
Scale the up a bit. Exit wireframe and edit mode. Then add a bevel modifier to it. Set the segment to 2. And adjust the bevel amount. Now right-click on the object and select Auto Smooth.
To make shading better, turn on Harden Normals.
Now in its edit mode, press 3 to turn on face selection. And select the top face. Duplicate it with Shift plus D.
Scale that up and bring it down.
If you press P and select selection, this will become separated from the main cylinder. Press Tab again to exit edit mode. Select the new mesh created.
And Tab to enter its edit mode.
Then E to extrude up. Exit edit mode. Now Shift plus D to duplicate it and move that up. Now press S and then Shift plus Z. This will tell Blender to scale on X and Y, but not on Z axis. Move the cylinder up. Now duplicate the window with Shift plus D and bring that to the center. In its edit mode, press S to scale up, and then move up a bit. Now scale again with S and press Y to scale up on Y axis. Now duplicate again. And scale that down. Then scale it down on Y axis and bring it to the front. Switch to wireframe with Shift plus Z and press 1 to turn on vertex selection. Select the bottom vertices and move them down. Exit the wireframe and edit mode. Then in the bevel properties, adjust the bevel amount. Also move these windows to the back.
Now select the big one, duplicate, and move that down.
And then to the front. Before going ahead, let's save the project.
To do that, go to File, and select Save As.
Select a file folder, rename the project, and hit Save. Now duplicate the top cylinder and move that up. Duplicate that again, and right-click, so it stays at the same location. If you try to scale this now, it will scale with respect to its origin point. Origin point is that yellow dot you see in every object. So to move this origin back to its place, click the right mouse button. Under Set Origin, select Origin to Geometry. Now there won't be any problem while scaling. First scale this down on Z-axis a bit. Then press S to scale, and Shift plus Z to restrict scaling on Z-axis. Duplicate this, and move that up. Duplicate again, and scale down. In Edit mode, select the top vertices, and move those up. Then Shift plus D to duplicate the selected face. Right-click to cancel the movement. And S to scale up a bit. Now E to extrude up. And S to scale down. With any part of the object selected, press L to select the whole connected mesh. Then scale that up a bit on X and Y axis. Again select the top vertices. Make sure you are in wireframe when you do that. Duplicate and right-click. Then E to extrude up. Shift plus D to duplicate again, and right-click. S to scale up a bit. And E to extrude up on Z. Then S to scale down. Now if you press Ctrl plus R and bring the cursor near the vertical edges, you will see a horizontal loop. Left-clicking once will make the cut. And then left-click again to stop it from sliding. S to scale this loop down a bit. Then to make the curve smoother, press Ctrl plus B to bevel. Move the mouse and scroll the mouse wheel to adjust the number of segments. Once done, you can adjust these settings in the operator panel as well. Press L on it to select the whole mesh. Then P and selection to separate it. Tab to exit edit mode, select the new mesh, and tab again. Now let's select the top vertices and press Shift plus S on keyboard. This will bring the Snap Pie menu, where you can select Cursor to Selected. Since the top vertices were selected, the 3D cursor goes over there. Now if you add any object, it will originate from here. So Shift+A to bring Add menu. And add a UV sphere. Since this will be very small and far, we can get away by making this low poly. Down in the operator panel, set segments to 16 and rings to 8. Now S to scale it down, and then move that up a bit. Now select a part of the ball, and then press L on it to select the whole object. Then press 3 to turn on phase selection. Now if you right-click, you will see a Shade Smooth option. Select that. Now back in object mode, duplicate the window with Alt+D. And place it in front of the top tower. Adjust the scale a bit. Duplicate this as well, and move that up. Now select the roof up top, enter its edit mode, and then select the ball.
Shift+S, and bring the cursor to select it.
Now add a cylinder. This will be the flagpole, so you can lower down the resolution. In the operator panel, set the vertices to 6. Now S to scale down. S again, and Shift+Z to scale down on X and Y only. Now shift right mouse click on top of the pole. And add a mesh plane.
Press R, 90, and X.
This will rotate it 90 degrees on X-axis, then scale down, and scale down on Z-axis. Move the flag to the right, select the right 2 vertices, and scale them down. Now press Ctrl+R, and take cursor near the horizontal loop.
Once you see the vertical loop appear, left-click to add it.
Move this loop to the front. And to make the curve smooth, bevel the loop with Ctrl+B. Use the mouse wheel to control number of segments. Back in object mode, select the cylinder.
Duplicate with Shift+D, and place it to the side.
Right-click, and set origin to geometry. In edit mode, scale it down. Then with wireframe enabled with Shift+Z, select the top vertices. And move them up. Add one horizontal loop with Ctrl+R, and scale that down a bit. Back in object mode, duplicate the top roof with Shift+D. And place it on top of the bottom tower. Press S and Shift+Z to scale it up on X and Y. Then in edit mode, with the ball selected, scale that up on Z.
Now select both tower and roof.
Then click on blue Z button to switch to top view.
And move them on Y-axis.
Again duplicate the window using Alt-D and place it to the front of the tower.
Now shift-select the window, roof, and tower.
Make sure the tower is selected last. The outline of the last selected object is of different color. Press Ctrl+P and select object. This will make the tower parent. If you now move or scale the parent, the children will follow.
Switch back to top view.
Duplicate them using Alt+D and move to the right.
Shift-select both of them and their roofs and windows.
And duplicate them to the back. You can select the windows of the back towers, press X, and delete them. Now in front view, select the tower and roof, and not the window. Press Shift+D to duplicate. This way I can make changes to the model without affecting others. And move it to the right. In its edit mode, select the flag and the pole. Press X and delete vertices. Exit edit mode. Duplicate both the roof and tower. And move it to the right.